What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and welcome to another episode of our First Down Training show. Today, we're going to be talking about one of the biggest scams that I got threatened for exposing in terms of high school recruiting. I had CNN wanting to interview me about this, have me make a comment on this, and then the people who were involved actually got my phone number, started threatening me. So we're going to break down this entire scam, talk about what happened, and hopefully this can help you guys avoid it. So guys, I live in Southern California, which is one of the bigger football markets in the country. I would say, you figure you got the big football states are like California, Texas, Georgia, Florida. Obviously, there's some other big football states where they take football insanely seriously, especially in the South. But I've seen this scam, if you will, of paying for offers, whether that's a fake coach or whether that's a legitimate coach who's got to deal with one of these street or recruiting agents on the side. And that's essentially the scam that I exposed. This was maybe about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I want to say. But I posted something, and it wasn't like I made a video on it. I posted literally just an article on our website where I was kind of breaking down, this scam and just telling parents and telling athletes essentially what to look out for, how to recognize this type of scam, what to say if you're approached by one of these street agents, as I call them, that are claiming they're hey, if you pay me a bunch of money, I can get your son a scholarship, I can get him an offer. Now, I'm not saying all recruiting agents are bad dudes. I'm sure there are some guys out there that have the athlete's best interest in mind. They're trying to do things the right way, and that's great. I would like to assume it's just a better way to live, that there are more good people out there than bad people, more people who actually are trying to do the right thing than doing the wrong thing, but we'd all be naive to think that every single person that you come across has your best interest in mind. They're not doing it for the money. They're not trying to screw you over, but they ultimately are. And this is part of the reason, literally, I wasn't exaggerating, you guys. I had a reporter from CNN reach out to me and asked me to do kind of just an interview, talk on the phone, and really try. They wanted me to name drop these guys, and they were going to write this whole big article on it, what to look out for in youth sports. I declined because I just didn't really want to work with those guys, to be totally honest with you. But I think it would have shed some more exposure on this. But I feel like us talking about it in videos, and we've talked about it in a lot of videos since then, will give it more exposure because our audience is directly the people who are affected by this scam. So how does this scam go? So there was a dude out here in Southern California. He recently relocated to Orange County. Essentially what the scam was is he would charge parents and we're going to call this guy Matt B. Okay, that'll be the name. That's not his exact name, but it's pretty dang close. And so what he would essentially do, and this is what multiple parents have told me, every single parent that's ever come across this guy has told me this kind of scam, if you will, and the strategy that he uses. But essentially, he's hey, if you pay me, my rate is you're going to pay me $5,000 per offer. So parents are what do you mean $5,000 per offer? So you get my kid an offer, we give you $5,000. Then you get them another offer, we give you $5,000. And so parents who aren't in the know, and this is part of the reason why I make this video, because either athletes watching this or parents watching this will be able to determine if okay, this guy's legit or this guy's not legit when they reach out to you with this type of stuff, is a lot of parents are well, listen, if I pay this guy $5,000 and he gets my son a scholarship offer, a scholarship is worth how much? Let's say tuition at a college, this is low too, by the way, would be let's say it's $40,000. So 40 times 4 is what? $160,000, right? So if I pay $5,000, I just made $160,000 technically if I get my son's education paid for. And they're fantastic. You know what? That's cool. Okay, I made $155,000. I didn't save $160,000, but that's fine. That's a huge return on investment. And a lot of the parents that this guy would target would be decently wealthy people who live in Orange County, California, which is, decently a well-to-do area. There are some parts that are maybe not so well-to-do, and some parts that have a shitload of money, if I'm being honest, and lack of a better word. So he would target these people, and these parents have generally not much experience in athletics. The people who have came to me and were dude, we got screwed over by this guy, I knew it was a scam, this is ridiculous, are generally people who, or they're doctors, or they're a lawyer, and they never played competitive sports. And then people who would tell this guy to go pound sand and get away from us were people who have a background of playing college sports, some guys who played professional sports, so they kind of know how the game goes. And so let's get back to what it was. So he would say okay, give me $5,000 and we'll get you an offer. So this guy knew a lot of people in the college coaching world that were assistant coaches. Now, assistant coaches in college football They're paid decently well. However, you have to pay taxes, and also you are working like a dog 12 months out of the year, right? I read a book a couple weeks ago about Nick Saban and when he was at LSU and the schedule that those guys had. He said something like Monday through Saturday, let's talk about like Monday through Thursday, they were at the facility from like 5 a.m. all the way to like 10 p.m. at night. Then they would have like Friday to prep for the game. They would travel. Saturday's the game, which is an all-day event. And then Sunday, they would be right back in the coach's office watching film, prepping for practice, coaching up players, having meetings. They're there all the damn time. And then when the season ends, those guys don't get a break. You know what they're doing? They're traveling all across the country, recruiting, doing all that type of stuff. Are their expenses paid for? Maybe some of it, but probably not all of it, you guys. So they are working like dogs. And when you factor in an assistant coach's time for the amount that he is making, it's not that much, especially after taxes, right? And depending on the state that you live in, you're getting taxed like crazy. So what assistant college coaches are like, well, this is a fast way to make money. So they make the deal with the devil. They ultimately will go, okay, listen, what we'll do is the recruiting guy, this Matt B person that we're talking about, would give them like $2,000 cash under the table. Non-taxable, not traceable, that everybody could easily deny it because it's cash and there's no trail. And what they would do is they would give this kid, who's like one of the recruiting agent's guys, they would give him a verbal offer. I could give you a verbal offer right now. Let's say Michigan State wanted me to coach for them and I became a receiver coach over there. I could text 15 different players that I train right now and be like, hey, we want to give you an offer. It means absolutely nothing because I didn't clear it with a coordinator. I didn't clear it with the head coach. It's just talk, you guys. It's just talk. I could offer you $1 million right now. It's just talk. No, nobody's holding me to that, okay? Because there's nothing in writing. I didn't clear it with anybody. It's not legitimate. So the scam that was going on was that these parents would be like, oh my God, you got us an offer. Great. Like, you know, maybe we give him $5,000 more. And I don't know if he was like, well, now this one's going to be $6,000 or now this one's going to be $7,000 or whatever the case may be. I don't know that specific detail, but essentially they would be like, okay, a lot of parents would be like, okay, we'll give you $5,000 more. Let's see what you can do. You already got us an offer. Why not? Let's give you some more. And then he would do the same strategy with somebody else and the same strategy with somebody else. And how he got found out was that a lot of, like, first and foremost, a lot of the athletes that were working with him were like no varsity film. Like they had offers from like, you know, schools like, I don't think it was these exact schools, but schools like Arizona State, like not the massive like SEC schools or anything like that, but like, you know, Power 5 type schools, like Division I level schools. And it was kind of like, how does this kid who has no varsity film, barely even started freshman, have these kinds of offers? And they're like, oh, he works with this guy. He got him these offers. Yeah, you should work with him. He got my son these offers. But here's the problem, you guys, and this is when the whole thing explodes and this is when it all blows up. Kind of like a Ponzi scheme. You know what I mean? Like a Ponzi scheme is where like you take money from some person and then you pay this other person who gave you money a percentage of that money. And meanwhile, the guy who's in the middle of the Ponzi scheme is living like a king until the floor falls out and then everybody loses their money and that guy goes to freaking jail, right? So that's kind of the process of what was going on here. When it came time to sign or commit to one of these colleges, do you think any of these players could get that college on the phone? Do you think any of these players like actually went to those schools? No. When it came time to commit, when they're like a junior and they see all these other classmates starting to commit to different schools who did things the right way, and they want to commit and they try to get Arizona State on the phone, guess what? They're not taking their call because they don't even know who they are. The head coach, the coordinator, the people who actually control who gets scholarship offers and who doesn't, they don't even know who these kids are. They're like, dude, what are you talking about? That's the problem, you guys. And that's the thing that I exposed because I was like, this is BS. Like, parents are getting skinned alive financially. What if it was a parent who doesn't have $5,000 to lose? You know, let's say it's some real rich guy, he spends $5,000, he's like, you know, that's all right. You know, I got $1 million in the bank. Like, okay, fine, still stupid. Nobody likes to lose money. But what if it's like a single mom who just wants to do the best for her kid and she doesn't have $5,000 to blow? Maybe she took out a loan. And she's like, well, I'm going to pay this guy because, you know, that'll get my son into college. And then he just steals from her. Let's just call it what it is. He's stealing from her. And it's all BS. The assistant college coach is making money under the table and that guy's making $3,000 in profit for doing literally nothing because he's running a freaking scam, you guys. And you guys need to be aware of these things. Like, it's, again, you can't be so naive to just assume that everybody is, you know, has your best interest in mind. Like, you almost have to be a little bit cynical where if somebody gives you a promise and it sounds too good to be true, generally it probably is. You know what I mean? That's the attitude that you have to have, unfortunately, because of people like this. So I exposed this whole thing. I write about it. I guess he got wind of it. And then I tell you this right now, not a single person reached out to me to defend this guy, by the way. Do you know how many people reached out to me and were like, finally somebody said something? Literally, people like wrote me long paragraphs on Instagram saying, listen, we had to deal with this guy. We know a lot of families who were screwed over by this guy. We just want to thank you for actually having the guts to say it, because there are so many people out there that are afraid to say it because this guy's, well connected and they don't want to hurt themselves. They don't want to hurt their image and their brand. I could care less. I don't need the help. Like, I don't care what this guy has to offer me. I don't care how well connected he is. So again, somehow, because my information's public, you guys, like on my website, we have our phone number on there. We have our email. He got a hold of my phone number and this guy starts texting me all kinds of threats. I'm going to show up at one of your camps. I'm going to kick your ass. Like, you better watch it. Like, I never did anything to hurt your business. Why are you hurting my business? Not a single time did he say, hey, listen, man, like, you got it wrong. This is actually what I do. Here's proof of what I actually do. Here's proof that, here's proof that this kid actually got this offer. This was how I helped it. I wasn't doing what you said. No, like, again, I mentioned this guy by name when I wrote that article. Well, why didn't he sue me? If it's false and everything he is doing is ethical, all the money he's making is not cash under the table, because that's another thing. He accepts payments, Venmo, Cash App, cash. Is it an invoice? Like, is he paying taxes on it? Like, what's going on? If everything he was doing was ethical, wouldn't you sue me? Like, wouldn't you say, like, this is like slander and hurting my business? No, not one single thing. All it was just threats upon threats, threatening to kick my ass, threatening to do this. And it's like, I'd like to see you try, bro. Like, you're like 300 pounds. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, it's one of those things, you guys, where it's like, if I was saying stuff that was absolutely not true, why wouldn't he try to dispute it? And also, why wouldn't he just be like, hey, listen, this is not true, like, or just ignore it? But the fact that he got so upset, just making personal threats or attacking me personally, like, yeah, that goes to show, like, I'm probably on a nerve here and I'm probably speaking a little bit of the truth. And nothing was like accusations where it's like he did it. It was just like, this is what I've heard. This is what people have told me. And these are people that I trust. And these are reliable sources who have firsthand experience working with this guy. I've never worked with him personally. These are people that I know and have firsthand experience with telling me these things. And it wasn't just one person. It wasn't just two people. It was multiple people. You guys, like probably closer to 15 people who all told me the exact same story. So I'm like, maybe there's something here, right? Now, this is not the only like pay for offers scam that's out there. This is something else that you have to be aware of. Anytime that if you are approached by somebody claiming they're a coach, claiming whatever, and it's like, hey, cash app me. Like, this is something that I literally saw. It was a DM thread of an athlete on Twitter with this guy who was pretending to be a coach at a college. Literally a DM thread where this kid was just reaching out. And again, the thing that bothers me a lot is that these are kids. Like, that's what really bothers me. Like, if you're gonna go screw over a grown man, and a grown man is dumb enough to be able to believe the thing that you're spieling and the thing that you're selling and whatever, and the scam, hey, it's not right, it's not good, shouldn't do it. I don't know how you sleep at night, but at least it's a grown man. You're doing this to kids. That's a serious freaking problem. Like, that's somebody who has absolutely no conscience. That's somebody who belongs and just away from society for the rest of his life, in my opinion. Because if you're doing this to kids, like, you really have no ethics. You really have no code as a man. You're not a man, if I'm being totally honest. You know what I mean? So this is a guy pretending to be a college coach at a school. Kid reaches out to him and be like, hey man, coach, like, you're really interested in your school. Would love it if you take a look at my film. He goes, hey, pay me a few $1,000s and I could give you an offer. Here's my Cash App. What? And I don't know if the athlete paid him. I don't think he did. But how many athletes did pay this guy? If he's doing it, it's probably worked once or twice before. He's probably not 0 for 20 on it. You know what I mean? And he's pretending. He's fake. He's not on a staff. Okay, so guys, I shouldn't even have to say this, number one, but I'm going to say it because a lot of you people watching this are young, or maybe a lot of you are parents, and maybe you've never gone through this recruiting process, and maybe your athlete's young or your child's young, and you're like, well, listen, I want to know like what to be prepared for when we get to that point. you gotta, one, do your freaking research. If this guy says he's a coach and he's asking you for money, like, probably look him up. Like, be like, is he on the staff? Okay, he's not on the staff. We're probably not gonna talk to this guy. Is his email like a school affiliated email, or is it a Gmail? Because if it's a Gmail, probably not the most professional looking thing in the world. It's probably gonna be like, such and such coach at UCLA.com or UCLAfootball.com. Like, that's probably what the email is going to be. But you got to do your research, number one. But like, here's the bottom line is that like, if there is any dollar exchange for an offer, it is complete BS. Complete. There's no, oh, well, maybe it's like that. No, it's all BS. It never happens. If you don't believe me, ask anybody that's ever gotten a real scholarship offer that plays in college. Like, hey, did you have to pay for your offer? Hey, did you pay this guy to help you get? No, they probably didn't. You guys, like, I'm actually certain they didn't. The legitimate ones, you know what I mean? So it's like, I say all this because you guys have to be aware of this stuff. Not everybody has your best interests in mind. It's just like the agents now that are in the whole NIL space. You know what I mean? Like, how many guys are popping up on corners saying, I'm an NIL agent, I could help you with your NIL stuff. Did you know it's not regulated? You guys, it's not like the NFL where you got to be like a certified agent. Like, to be an NIL agent, I could do it tomorrow. Wouldn't be hard. You know what I mean? So a lot of these guys see the fast money. They see these high school kids going in their first year of college getting paid 6 figures plus, and they're like, I want a piece of that. I don't even care about the athlete. I want a piece of that. You know what I mean? And like, guys, you just have to be aware of these people. Generally, your gut instinct is something that you should trust, because you're going to get a feeling where you're like, man, I don't trust this guy. You should lean into that feeling, because I'm telling you right now, generally more often than not, it's not wrong. I know me personally, every bad decision that I've ever made, whether I've trusted something, trusted like, you know, a deal or whatever, and in my gut, it didn't feel good, but I did it anyways. You have that feeling pretty right off the bat. So trust your intuition, trust your instincts. If it doesn't feel right, feels like a scam, it is. If there is any dollar amount discussed for the offer, run as far away as you can. If you know a guy who's a recruiting agent, he is charging per offer. Nope, something fishy's probably going on. If he is a recruiting agent and he is asking you for Venmo, Cash App, or cash, something fishy's probably going on, okay? So just be aware of that type of stuff so you guys don't get screwed over and you don't have to come back to this later on after you've already made this mistake, okay? So I hope that makes sense, you guys. So now, fellas, what we do at the end of every episode of our show is we will answer 3 questions that you guys left on a previous episode of this show. So guys, if you have questions, stuff you want to ask me, do not hesitate. Post those in the comment section below of this video. I'd be happy to answer all that for you guys. We read and respond to every single comment on our channel. And the best questions get featured on the next episode of our show. So guys, we love hearing from you. Don't hesitate, post those in the comment section below. All right, so now, before we get into your questions though, fellas, if you are a QB or wide receiver watching this and you would like to train with myself and my staff of coaches this offseason, we are traveling out to 12 more cities across the entire US for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camps. So guys, if you would like to sign up, go to that very first link in the description below. That's where you can get all the information where you can attend. All of our camps will be sold out by probably March 1st. That's the way it's trending right now. We limit spots at our camp so we could actually work with you guys individually and help you develop. Like, we're not one of those big exposure camps where it's like, let's get every athlete in America to attend. Like, we want to keep it small. 70 to 80 athletes, ages 9 and above. We separate everybody by age, by skill level, position group. You're going to be in a small group of like 15 to 18 guys in your position, in your age group. So guys, keep things small. That being said, our next camp is going to be in Seattle, Washington. Then we're going to be coming out to Columbia, South Carolina. Both of those camps completely sold out. But then we'll be coming out to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Have about 5 spots left remaining there. Then we'll be out to Nashville, Tennessee. About 8 spots left there. Then we'll be heading out to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Austin, Texas, where we only got 2 spots left for you guys in Austin, Texas. So if you want to attend, make sure that'll probably be sold out by the end of this week. Then we'll be coming out to Atlanta, Georgia, Denver, Colorado, Columbus, Ohio, Boston, Massachusetts, Columbus and Boston. Less than 5 spots remaining as well. Those are always our most popular camps, so make sure you get your spot if you haven't already, if you plan on going. Then we'll be coming out to Salt Lake City, Utah, and finishing off the tour in Los Angeles, California. So guys, every camp has probably less than 15 spots left. So guys, hope you can attend. Very first link in that description below. Let's get to some of your guys' questions, all right? So, question number 1 from DuBears_, as an incoming freshman, what month should I buy equipment? incoming freshman, getting ready for maybe your first season of tackle, I recommend getting equipment as soon as possible, dude. Like probably like February, March, maybe even April. The sooner you can condition with a helmet on, condition with pads on, train with the helmet and pads on, do different contact drills, the better, because you'll be much easier at adjusting when you get into full pads and contact in August. So that's what I recommend, dude. Appreciate you asking that. Next question here. From DJ on top, what's the number one thing you look for from a player at every single practice? So at practice, you guys, from a coach's perspective, what they're looking for is attitude and effort, and then not making the same mistake twice, okay? So attitude is, are you respectful? When a coach is talking to you, are you looking him in the eye, or are you looking down? When he tells you something to do, are you yes, sir, no, sir, or are you a guy who's like, well, and you have a reason for everything that he's saying? That's stuff that you can control, which is your attitude. You need to have a good attitude. Effort, are you giving your absolute best, or are you going through the motions? And then number 3, not making the same mistake twice. What I mean by that is like when a coach coaches you up, this is called being coachable. When a coach coaches you up, don't be that guy that like, okay, yes, sir, and then do the exact same thing again. Try. Again, sometimes guys will make mistakes twice in a row. Mental mistakes should never be made twice in a row. Physical mistakes might take some time, but at least showcase that you are trying. And coaches will love you if you follow those things, okay? Now, next question, you guys, from Abdullah I2699. Yo, coach, my throwing is kind of off when I'm throwing deep balls. My arm hurts and it doesn't go far. So, if you struggle with your deep throws and your arm is hurting, more than likely you're probably taking a very big front stride. So as quarterbacks, like if you're a right-handed quarterback with your left leg, if you're taking a really big step because you're trying to throw it far, your feet end up outside of your shoulders. So you're not rotating with your hips enough, and it's more of an arm throw, and that's probably why your foot is hurting. So what I can recommend to you is maybe when you're throwing deep balls, like get a set of cones and make a circle around your feet so you can't step far and you have to get your front foot down. You'll be able to get more out of your hips and your legs into the throw, which can alleviate some arm pain, okay? So I hope that makes sense, dude. Appreciate you asking that. All right, you guys, that does it for this episode of our show. Hope this was able to give you some value. Hope you guys learned some things from this. Again, guys, if you have questions, don't hesitate. Post those in the comment section below. And again, guys, if you want to attend one of our camps, go to that very first link in the description below. We appreciate everybody tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.